Hello and welcome to Develop with WP. As always, my name is Bobby and welcome to another video. Today we're going to follow along in our plugin series where we're going to build a settings page. Now the settings page we're going to build is going to be called what's referred to as a submenu page. And what that means is that it's one of these ones like installed plugins, editor, or in the tools area, import, export. Those are submenu pages. Another type of settings page that you can create, which we're not going to in this series, but is very useful to know, is what's called a menu page, or what's also better known as a top-level menu item. These are top-level menus right here: appearance, plugins, users. And so I'll show you in the Codex real quick the differences between those. They're very similar, as you would probably guess, but there are some slight variations, and I'll show you that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Codex. So right here, to create a submenu page, the function you're going to use is called add submenu page. And it has a number of parameters, and if we look at them, it looks like all but the last one are required, which is the callback function. And we'll cover this in detail. But now let's go look at the other one for a top level menu, which is just called add menu page. And if you look in here, it's pretty similar. The only difference is that you don't have to tell it which parent it belongs to because it is a parent theme. You also get the option to give it a icon, like a dash icon, which we've covered in when we did our post type video. And it also gives you a position. So again, like the post type video, you can tell it where to put it on this list. Like, do you want it to be down low here, or where do you want it to show up? So those are the differences between adding a top level menu or a sub menu. Very similar, slightly different. Okay, so let's get into the code. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just copy this so that we have all the variables available to us, and then we'll walk through them. So we're going to create a function, and we're going to prefix it and say add submenu page, and then we're going to do an add action, and the hook we're going to use, let's look in the Codex, it's like menu something. Admin menu is our hook, admin menu. So let's go do that. Is it admin? Yeah. Okay, admin menu. And then our function to be called is this one. Alright, and then I copied that function. So let's go do this, add menu. And then I'm going to clean this up a little bit so it's easier for us to read. This is a preference thing, but I really like to do it this way. Alright, so the parent slug. So what this is saying is it's asking you, because it's a submenu page, it's asking us which parent top level menu do you want this to fall under. So do you want this to be under pages? Do you want this to be under users? Where do you want this to be? In our example, we want it to be under the job listings post type. So how do we do this? Well, if we look at the Codex, it actually does a really good job of breaking all these down. So if you wanted to be under media, you'd use upload.php and so forth and so on. And if we look through here, you'll see that there is a custom post types option, and it simply is edit.php, then you give it a query post type equals, and then you give it your post type. So we'll copy this, we'll go over here to parent, and we'll paste this in. And then all we're going to do is change this to our post type, which is job. Alright, the page title. So this is the name you want to show up in the tab. So for example, up here where it says job listing, this tab up here, what do you want that to be? And so we're just going to make it a string, and we're just going to call it reorder jobs. And then the menu title, this is going to be the actual title. It shows up like here where you see locations, like what do you want it to say? And again, you know, we would just, and I would think this is most cases, but we're just going to use the same name. Capability. So what this is saying is it's saying what user capability does someone need to be or need to have to be able to access this? Do you want just any old contributor or author to be able to do it? Or do you want it to be an editor? You know, what do you want it to be? So we're just going to keep it simple and go with a pretty high one that you'll see used pretty often, which is called manage options. But you could look up the capabilities and pick any one, any kind of option. If you want editors to have access, then you would change it to like edit posts or whatever. You know, look it up. All right, then the menu slug. So this is just the name that we're going to use to reference this. So it's going to be the same name as reorder jobs, except we're going to do it all lowercase, underscores, right? Reorder jobs. So it's just like the computer readable version of our name. And then the last variable is the function, is the callback function that we will use to render our settings page. This is very similar to what we did with the meta boxes callback, where we registered a meta box, gave it a callback function, and then we use that function to actually display out what we want it to be on that inside that meta box. This is the same thing. We're going to create a callback function that we're going to use to actually display the contents of our settings page, which you'll see in just a second. So we'll call this one reorder admin jobs callback. That's what we'll call it. You can call it whatever you want. That's what I'm going to call it. And I'm actually going to copy this. All right, so I'm going to save this page. I didn't point this out, but we made this on our main file. So our main plugin file, we registered this page. Now we're going to use this job render admin.php file that we created a long time ago that we've never used up until this point. And now we're going to render the admin with this function. So we'll create a function, and we're going to call it the name that we just gave it, reorder admin jobs callback. And then we're just going to, for now, just echo out this is we're just going to echo out this is the jobs reorder admin page. All right, we'll save this. Now if we go back in here and we go and refresh, we should see a reorder page pop up. And we do. It says reorder jobs. And when we click on it, it says this is the jobs reordering admin page. So again, this callback function is just where we're going to put our code. Now I'm going to cover one more thing really quick before we end this video. So what I've done here is created a settings page. But if you look in the Codex and you research WordPress enough, what you're going to find is there's this whole settings API. And in my opinion, it's actually one of the more complex WordPress APIs. It has a lot of callback functions and some of the names maybe aren't right. And so it makes it very hard to build a complete functioning settings page using the settings API. You can circumvent this, but I don't suggest that. Now, you could say we're circumventing it because we're not going to be using the settings API in its traditional sense either. But that's just because the settings page we're creating is a very simple settings page. We're just creating a page that's going to list out the titles of all the job listings posts. And it's just going to allow you to drag and drop them in a certain order and then save that order so that we can then reference that order on the front end. It just allows the users to dictate the order in which the posts are displayed instead of just on like descending or ascending order, which you can do with the code. We're going to allow people to create a custom order. All right. So again, we're not going to use that settings. This isn't a full-on settings API tutorial. That could be a tutorial in and of itself, and it's a tutorial that I hope to make in the future, but we're not going to do it today. All right. So we just did step one, which is create the settings page. So in the next video, we're actually going to populate this page with much more useful information. And one of the things we're going to do is actually do a query to pull in all the recent posts. All right. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative, that you learned some stuff. If you have any comments, please do not hesitate to put them in the comment section down below. I will be happy to answer those questions. If you found this video, useful, please share it, like it, tell your friends. We could use all the publicity. So again, thanks. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.